Hey everyone, Leslie here from Balanced Body Studio, coming to you again with another fellow level 4 in sport fascia stretch specialist, the originals, right? We're the OG. There's going to be more of us in March, but for now we're 2 of 22 currently certified as level 4, which is really cool. So I want to introduce everybody here to Bertrand Berry, aka B Train, as we know him. I was fortunate enough to be in his small group as well. So we got to work a lot one-on-one together, which for me was really nice. To work with a bigger guy is always a challenge for me, being a little bit smaller, but being able to practice on somebody like B Train and getting his feedback on different positions was really helpful for me. And those of you that have seen Anne, she's even smaller than I am. So to see her kind of throw him around the table and do some things is really neat too. So I wanted to bring B Train here to talk about a couple different things. But first, B Train, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself and kind of how you got into FST and kind of what you're doing with it now.
So I started in FST. First of all, thanks for having me. And I started with FST in 2008. I was at the end of my career and I was having um, tendons pop off the bone for 3 straight years, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And in my mid 30s, that's a recipe for disaster for a professional athlete because you're pretty much at the end of your rope and at the end of your time. And so I reluctantly went in to visit with Ann and see if she could help me and keep my tendons in place. And since then, it's just been a beautiful marriage. I was able to get 2 more years out of my career and really enjoy some of the best moments in my career. So that was definitely a blessing. And since then, I've become a teacher of FST here in Phoenix with Ann and Chris, and it's just been an amazing adventure to learn so much and really glean so much information from the two of them because they are a wealth of knowledge and their experience and the things that they're doing to really further this practice and this modality is just amazing to see what the potential that FST can truly be. And so I'm excited about the future and really glad to be with you today.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm extremely jealous that you do get to work with them on the you know, as often as you get to because,
Yeah.
I think, always look forward to heading down to Phoenix for every certification that I've had because you always walk out of there too, just even more inspired and motivated. And I think as the levels go on, especially level 3 and 4, I found the caliber and the quality of people and their diverse backgrounds and what they're using FST for, how they're incorporating it into their practice, and just learning from each other. Like, I've kind of come up with some new stretches on my own that I showed some people, and they kind of showed us modifications. So it's just like a huge family, and it's so exciting. And I love going back every year and look forward to next year because hopefully there'll be some workshops there around the 25th anniversary too. So hopefully we'll all get back together and we'll all be whenever level 5 is ready to go, we'll all be the first ones to sign up for that as well. So yeah, so thanks again for coming. So there was one topic in particular I wanted to chat with you about because obviously you have experience as an athlete getting worked on with FST and saw the huge benefits with that. And one of the things that we talked about, which is kind of a passion of mine, is working with the younger athletes. And what I'm finding is there's not a lot of mobility, stretching, recovery in these programs that these kids are in a higher kind of rep leagues, right? Where they're practicing, and playing and lifting weights and doing all the things, but there's not the rest and recovery. So you're currently working with some younger athletes or with athletes now. What is kind of your opinion and what do you think now that you've gone through even a professional career? You kind of told us your story. How do you think, or what do you think how FST should be and mobility training in general should be implemented with these younger kids?
Well, I look at it first as it's something that can be used, one, to restore or prepare these young guys for, and young men and young women as well. Whichever sport that you focus on, there's definitely things that can benefit. FST pretty much covers you from head to toe, and there's not a lot that can't be used for whatever sport that there is. And so the thing that I found with a lot of the younger guys is that they don't stretch And a lot of these younger kids that are in these sports, one, they're actually being overused. I think that there's not a lot of downtime for these kids. They're going year round and they're using the same muscle groups over and over and over and over. And those muscle groups are starting to wear down. And you start to see the injuries and you start to see these kids really get burnt out. And so there's a little bit of caution when you start working with kids that are doing a particular sport year round. You don't want to overuse those muscles or overstimulate those muscles because eventually you can start seeing negative results. But in the meantime, there's a lot that can be done as far as recovery. When you start talking about these kids, if they're in season, there's definitely a place for FST where you can help the muscles recover and repair during the particular time of the week, depending on how far or close you are from the actual game day. If they have multiple games in a week, then you have to get a little more creative. But when you talk about football, which is what I specialize in, I try to do a little bit of recovery 2 days after the game and then a little bit of uh, preparation 2 days before. So I don't really like to deal with them, right before the game or right after the game because you really want to give that body an opportunity to rest and recover as best it can. But there's not going to be a perfect science to that. You just have to kind of take it case by case, and each young person is going to recover in their own way. And it really, a lot of it depends on just the communication, Les. You have to be able to communicate with your clients and really allow them to kind of spearhead it, and then you come with the problem solving. They give you the information, and then you in turn can give them whatever it is that they need in that moment in order to best do whatever sport it is that they're choosing.
Right, right. So have you obviously since you've gotten certified and using this with your football guys in particular, what have kind of been the results that they've seen from before not getting FST to now? Is there any couple things that have kind of popped up that they've said to you like, oh my goodness, like yeah, this is making a difference in this particular area?
The one thing that I've seen across the board as far as feedback has been the the clients feel lighter. They always say they feel light. They
Yes.
don't feel quite so heavy. And what we've were able to learn in level 4, working with the feet and really getting that tissue to really spread out and have those toes be able to separate.
Mhm.
They can feel the ground a lot more. They've got a lot more balance in what it is that they're doing. And so that's been a huge bonus for me to see these guys go out and feel more balance within themselves and being aware of their body and not having to what's the word compensate for different areas of their body that may not be quite as strong. Like if you've got a hip, then you've got that opposite knee trying to compensate for it, and if the knee is not quite up to speed, then the opposite hip is trying to compensate. So there's a lot of things going on as far as these young kids and still learning their body, and their body's still growing. And that's the other part of it is you
Mhm.
have to take into account that these young men and women aren't fully developed. When you talk about 14 to 18 year olds, their bodies haven't stopped growing. So there's always going to be that, well, where are you today? Because where you are today may not be where you are next week,
Yeah.
because your body could have had some sort of growth and some sort of change in just a week's time. So you have to be flexible, you have to be fluid, and you have to really, really develop that communication with your client and really be able to ask very specific questions about what they're feeling, and not making it so much for us to have to assess, because that takes time from the session.
Yeah.
But if you can go in with a certain amount of knowledge, that makes the session that much easier.
For sure. Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned the balance thing because balance is obviously important for everybody, just in general, for general living. But in sports, that's huge, right? It's huge to be able, whether you're playing football or basketball or golf, even, right? Like you need that balance and it starts from the ground up. right? If that's anything I took away, it starts from the feet and the calves up, right? If those are not balanced, then you're not gonna have balance in general, and that's it. And I think one other important point too, I think for parents to realize why this is so important for their kids to add this into their programs is for the longevity of being able to play the sport too, right? Like a lot of these kids, by the time they hit, 18, 19, 20, and it's time to go to that next level, a lot of them are just too injured, right? Or they just have been so overstimulated, like you said, that they've had enough and their body just shuts down on them, right? So I think that's, what do you think? That's an important part of it too, right? For them to keep that longevity of being able to play that sport.
There has to be a balance of rest and recovery, and your body cannot recover unless it's getting rest. And if it's constantly in motion, there's never that opportunity for it to slow down and let the body do what it's made to do. And so that's been a big issue with these AAU and these club teams. They're making these kids play all year round, and they have very little downtime during the course of a calendar year.
Yeah.
It just doesn't allow their body to maximize itself and get the full use that they would need in order to truly be successful. So you got to be able to rest and recover and let the kids enjoy a little downtime and just be kids. I mean, it's not everybody's not going pro, so kind of enjoy the ride, but let's not be too serious too soon.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that. I think you had even said that in your gym, you have a rule that they have to rest for 3 months, is it? Was it 3 months?
Well, I always tell them they've got to give me when they stop their sport, you've
Yeah.
got to give me at least 8 weeks
Okay.
to where you're doing nothing. And, that's basically 2 months
Yeah.
where you're not doing anything. You're just kind of letting the body shut down and heal. I do love multi-sport athletes because you get to train different muscle groups depending on the sport.
Yeah.
But as far as seeing me, yeah, they have to take a little bit of a break because I'm what they call extra. I'm not necessarily required to
Right.
do whatever sport that
Yeah.
they're doing, but I think the more you can get a well-rounded workout of your entire body and all of the different muscle groups, the better you're going to be for it in the end.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I totally agree with that too. And I think that's one of the things that, it's hard to see, when these young athletes are coming in and, my hope is that they're coming in to help improve, right? Whether they want to get faster, stronger, improve their agility, their balance. But a lot of the times they're coming with back pain or plantar fasciitis or their neck hurts, all of these things. So I think that's one of the things like I feel lucky to have this tool that I can help them. I can't control their schedules. I can't control a lot of what they're already doing, but I
Mm-hmm.
think what we provide can at least provide some relief and then just some education, like you said, on here's some different ways to recover because that is important, right? In terms of getting to that next level.
Biggest thing that I've seen with a lot of the young kids is hydration. They don't hydrate enough. They don't drink enough water,
Yeah.
electrolytes, all those different things. I'm a big proponent of getting IVs
Yeah.
because sometimes water just isn't enough with the things that you actually lose when you sweat and you're exerting all this energy. Sometimes you're losing much more than just water.
For sure.
And you have to be able to counter that and be able to come back and give your body the things that it needs, which is sometimes it's the B12, sometimes it's the extra vitamins, all those different things
Yeah.
in order to allow your body to one repair itself, but then go out and perform at an optimum level that you would expect your body to perform. So there is a lot of unknowns to a lot of the young athletes and their parents.
Yeah.
But when you're in the know and you've gained a little bit of trust, you've got to be able to influence them as best you can without exhausting their resources
Right.
to make sure that they are doing everything they can to be the best possible athlete in that moment.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thank you so much for your insight. That was great. I learned a lot from you while I was there and picked your brain a little bit about, some things. And I've already have some stuff in the works with a couple teams here. So I'm really excited to get some mobility programs going where they come in and actually get mobility training and then get themselves on the table as well.
Awesome. Awesome.
Like I said, I want to see more of these athletes coming in because they're trying to get better and not because they're hurt and injured. So
That's correct.
that's the big goal, right? So
Absolutely.
so thanks again for taking some time to chat, and I know our paths are going to continue to cross, which is awesome. That's the beautiful thing about this FST family is that there's that open communication, asking questions to each other all the time, and if I get something and I don't know, I'm always asking other people in the group, and because more times than not, people have kind of experienced everything, right? Somebody's experienced the issue that you're coming up with, so. Thank you again, and it's always nice to see you. Miss everybody. I don't know. It's been 6 weeks, I think, since we've all left, and it's like you get that little void of seeing everybody every day and getting stretched. And like I said, I always look forward every year to coming down and learning from all you guys because you guys are all so awesome. And now that you're a full-time instructor now, a teacher, right? You're out on your own now teaching, and that's
Yes.
amazing. That's so good.
Yeah, we actually have a level one coming up in a couple weeks, and then a level three at the beginning of December. So,
Perfect.
it's been fun, and seeing the new people come in and learn this, this modality is just great. And hopefully they go out and help that many more people go out and be free.
Yes, exactly. Set it free, right? Set it
Set it
free.
free with FST.
You got it. All right. Thanks again, B Train, and we will chat soon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
You too.